welcome back. March is Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month, and today we are learning just how the cancer impacts one ethnic group more than any other. We've brought in our favorite local doctor, Dr. Dooley, to help us understand a little bit more just about why we need to be paying attention specifically to colorectal cancer.
Absolutely.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so what is it? And, you know, how do we check for signs, and why does it seem to impact one community more than others?
Colorectal cancer is cancer of your colon. That's where your bowels come out of. You move your bowels, your bowel movements. And it's important because it is on the rise in younger people, which is really scary. We used to start screening at age 50. Now we start screening at age 45 because we recognize that it's affecting so much younger people. African Americans are actually 20% more likely to get colon cancer and 40% more likely to die from it. So it's especially important to all communities, but for African American community, even more so.
And why is it that it affects one community more than the other? If you take apples to apples and you say, okay, both these families have health care, they both do regular screenings, is there something that's being missed?
The problem is usually the African American and the white family are usually not equal. So increased saturated fats and animal fats, less fiber, less physical activity are all risk factors for colon cancer. So those are some of the whys. But then we have to talk about the why of the whys. Redlining, pay inequality. So if you live in a neighborhood where there's not a Whole Foods, there's not a fresh market where you can get fresh vegetables, then it's going to be harder for you to eat healthy. If you live in an unsafe community and the bank won't give you a mortgage to get in a safer community, you're not going to go outside and be physically active and go jogging if you don't live in a safe community.
Wow.
So those are some of the reasons. But whenever I talk to you about the reasons why things affect African Americans more so than any other group, I'm always going to talk to you about the reasons behind the reasons.
Right, right. And I mean, even if we know that these reasons exist, maybe it's not always seeming like it's a straight line to something as serious as colorectal cancer.
It's not. It's not. And part of the reason is African Americans are less likely to have health insurance and access to medical providers than every time that they give more people health care. There's still a disproportionate amount of Black and brown people who are still left uninsured. So it's expensive to go to the doctor. So you might blow off symptoms until they're too late. By the time we catch it, it's end stage.
What can we do, and are there any specific symptoms people should be looking for? And I know obviously it's, you know, make sure you're checking in with your PCP as well.
Please, any blood in your bowel movement, you should not dismiss it. Even if you think that it might be hemorrhoids, you shouldn't just assume. Always err on the side of caution. So blood in your stools or any kind of change in your bowel movements, if they're thinner than usual, if you chronically have diarrhea or you're chronically constipated and that's not your baseline, you need to let your doctor know.
Is there any reason something like that could just happen once? Is it, you know, if you have blood in your stool a few times, or if you ever see it
once? Eating beets or drinking red Kool-Aid might make it look like blood and it's not.
Yeah.
But because it's such a tricky issue, maybe one time you might let it go. But if it happens again, you want to err on the side of caution because colon cancer kills.
Wow. And I also wanted to talk to you a little bit about stress and anxiety. Coming out of the pandemic, we've seen now an increase in anxiety across all demos, all age groups, all ethnic backgrounds. And now doctors are now being put on the front lines to start checking for things like this.
Absolutely. It's something I take care of every day as a primary care physician. And let me tell you this, a lot of times people do need medications for anxiety and depression. But what I found is more often they need things like more money. Why can't I write for you a prescription as a doctor to go get some food pantry? Why can't I write Section 8 vouchers? We have to talk about the social determinants of health before we can talk about health. So yes, because of the pandemic and war and everything else going on in the society today, people are experiencing more stress. But a lot of times once they get in my office and we start talking about some of the reasons why, a better paying job, you know, better access to healthier foods.
Right.
Those are the sorts of things that might work even better than an antidepressant or anti-anxiety medication.
Is there a push for something? I mean, that seems like a brilliant idea. I'm sure there's somebody out there who's trying to do that. Is there talk about letting doctors write prescriptions for a healthy diet, fresh vegetables?
It should be.
Yeah.
It needs to be, right?
Wow,
because again, you can't talk about health without the social determinants of health.
All right, Dr. Victoria Dooley, thank you so much for checking in with us. Also, we did want to check in and talk a little bit about case for the measles. Do we have time for this? Nope, we have to bring you back.
Okay.
Bring you back. We love having you here. Okay. Thank you so much. Information was right there on your screen. We'll be right back.